Hey folks, entry page for J&D guitars, or Jack and Danny guitars. This is where they're made. It's basically old school design. This is the about page of their page. Looks like that page is in Chinese, but I have got it in English. Well, it is now. So, see if it comes back up. History of the okay, no history then. So I will type that in. It says here on Google, our company was founded in Taiwan and has a history of more than 20 years. It opened a factory in Haiyang District, Guangdong, 1991. Factory covers an area of more than 10,000 square meters and has hundreds of employees. And there you go. Good old Google. This is intro page. And folks, that's where I got the J&D Luthier guitar. That's the computer number. I actually did record this already, but it looks like it didn't record for part 1 in sequence. So, because there should have been over 4 minutes in this part 1, but there's only 3 minutes. So anyway, that's where I got it from. As you can see, and the first date I got was is the 24th of the 5th, which is May 2023, at around 3:56 p.m. served by HC. From Megacash, Junso, Hilton Road. Yeah, so the condition of the guitar is not their fault. As I said, there's no one there to know about what's underneath the guitar, inside the guitar, whatever. But yeah, that's where I got it from. That was the lay-by. So this will go with part 1. Got this out today after lay-by. This is called a J&D Luthier or Luthiers. Cost just under $200 by $1. Little ding there, and I couldn't test it before I bought it as the input jack nut was missing, so I've just put it on now. I'm just doing up the screws here, wood screws to hold it back together. So this is part 1. Before I start taking these off and cleaning them and so on, then I'll test it, make sure it actually does work. They said it did. So it's probably about 20 years old, maybe more. And if I could remember correctly, I did a little bit of research. The company, I think it's in, no, I can't remember. I do know the company was around, it's been around since 1991. I can't remember if it was mainland China. I've got to look it up again, and I'll put that information with this. It's sunburst design. The neck is perfectly straight. Frets aren't even worn. One broken string. Strings do need replacing, but I'll keep them on there to keep this bridge there, because this is the only thing kept there is the strings. Strings are a little bit too tight. No, they seem to be alright. I'll tune it and find out. I haven't tuned a guitar for a while. But anyway, I'll take these off and clean them up and see how it goes. So I didn't really buy this as a project. I bought it to play. And I mean, I don't consider myself a muso. I haven't read music notes for like 30 years. And my scales are pretty lazy. So I can make a tune, and don't know if I can still keep a beat or not. We'll see. I don't play other people's styles of music. I listen to other people's styles of music for inspiration, but in the end I just play my own. And yeah, and that's a feature. This is a project I'm doing now. I'm not telling you what it is. Part 2 of the J&D Luthier. So I'm just taking the pickups off because I was a bit concerned about these. You know, I think these are metal. They feel like metal. I was a bit concerned for those because it didn't look right. And give you some light. And the reason why I didn't think it looked right, because it didn't look as this, because I've seen these guitars before. I haven't owned one before, but I don't remember them having this on here. And when I take this off, I was right. As you can see, there's an extra hole. And the smaller holes are actually for this, which means it's not original to this guitar. And getting parts for this, because of its age, would be almost impossible. Unless I can find something similar, but it would be a reproduction. It would not be original, despite this being old itself. So what I will do, because these smaller holes, see how much strength, or the lack of, in that wall there. So the big hole I will fill in with some timber, and obviously I'll glue that in. I'll do each hole, so these smaller ones that have their extra support. I also suspect this one's the same. But I mean, it won't damage the function of the guitar or the sound, but it will make it, and you won't see it, but I will know about it, so I will fix it. And this will just give more strength by filling in those small holes. And that would be the original texture or marking texture that they use for the construction. So everything just needs a good old clean, and remove the dirt, because the dirt attracts dust, and the dust, I should say, is dirt, which attracts moisture and therefore surface corrosion, which will come off quite easily. Part 3 of what I'm doing. So I figure out where my camera is. There. Plug up those holes, and I'll do the same for those ones. I'll let that dry for like probably 8 hours or so. While it's doing that, I'll take this apart and clean it all up. And the same with that one. Hopefully I don't have to do the same and fix the holes. We'll see. But I got this from, as soon as I find my receipt, now they're not at fault for the internals of the guitar. Their only concern is that it works. So there's the receipt where I got it from, and how much I paid, how much I had owing on it. They're the receipts. So it took me a while, a few weeks, a couple of weeks, about 6 weeks, I think. When was the first date? The first date was 24th of the 5th, 2023, at around 4 to 4. And that is their computer number, as they obviously haven't used ledgers for over 30 years now, or 30 years. But yeah, so they're not to blame for the condition of the guitar underneath the pickups. As I said, to them it has to work for them to be able to buy it and to resell it. So yeah, I'll keep on going, and till it's all done, I'll buy new strings for it, most likely online for the strings, because it's cheaper. I say probably 20 bucks, depending on where you get them from. And yeah, just needs a good old clean. While TLC has birds on it, So this is either from Korea or China. I'll look it up and put the correct information on once I put this up as a video. So that's the receipt for it, or receipts. I only need the last one, which is the one for payment, last payment. So this will go into a storage container. But anyway, that was unexpected to find. But I always check, if I buy secondhand guitars, I always check the pickups, because if you haven't already guessed, if you're a muso, which I'm not, but if you like playing guitars or these type of electrical instruments, if your pickups vibrate, if there's any vibration whatsoever from the action, which is the distance from your frets to the string, that'll go through, that vibration will go through the strings and sound like a buzzing sound through the amplifier. So these here, because these screws would have been loose, they would have had no choice. But the vibration would have been really minute, but still enough to go through the pickups. And probably the reason why the person who had this originally got rid of it, because it probably had a buzzing sound. I'd say it wasn't there all the time, but I'd say it came through every now and again. So basically this is a diary now, because this would be part 4. And what I'm showing here is, well, see that part there? That's supposed to be in there. And you're not supposed to be able to get that out without a lot of friggin' effort. So when I screw this in, this is the bridge that moves up and down, that touches the strings, gives you your sound. Sorry, I didn't mean to make that kind of round. No, sorry, it rhymed. Anyway, yeah, so I will put a bit of glue on that, because that would also be causing a vibration or a buzzing sound through the strings. So this definitely had some buzzing sound issues. Try and give you a better view of that. And also I bought some covers. They don't come up really well on the camera, but they're a goldish color. They're supposed to be brass. Sits in there like this. This goes over. I had to file the corners, inside corners of this. This is only plastic, or it's most likely PVC or polyvinyl chloride plastic. It's not polyurethane. That has been chromed. They chromed it with copper first and actual chrome. But this goes on here like so. And that's what I just done there. I had to make sure that these covers actually fit. So this definitely would have had a buzzing sound, either from the pickups or from this, which I'd say this was the main culprit. This wouldn't have been too bad, but these still would have created some sort of vibration. Even if it was minute, it still would have been picked up by the amplifier through the pickups. This elevator base or foundation goes into the body of the guitar. It's not supposed to come out, and because it was so loose, that is what was causing, I'd say, another vibration. And these have a tendency to vibrate as well. You can put some plumbing tape on them, or some little bit of glue. I would not use epoxy on that. I would use wood glue or something like that, so that you can move it up and down. It'll just stop it from vibrating. But yeah, get that out the way now. folks, part 6. Finding more problems that would cause action buzz or guitar buzz. And it's now Thursday. And so this screw here, put it into focus. Well, that has to go there. And the reason why I'm showing you this, because I had to take the neck off, because I discovered the neck was loose. I've just replaced these screws with ones that are nickel coated. These ones were just simply chrome coated, which don't last very long. Now, I don't know if you can see that. Compared to the other hole, see how small that hole is compared to this one? Which means the neck moves this way. And this screw has to fit in there. And this is actually, see that? It moves. So it would be almost impossible to play this guitar properly, because it would always have a buzzing sound of some sort, or an interference. So I've taken off the neck. The neck is here. That's come up nice. I simply used dishwashing liquid and water and a sponge to clean off the fretboard. I simply just wiped the top here with a cloth. The tuning keys I took off and used soapy steel wool and a paring knife to remove any surface rust, and then a tiny wire brush and the soapy steel wool. So that's just waiting to be put back on. It only has 2 holes in it to hold it on. It's been a few hours now and the glue has set, mostly set, so it's allowing me to do some work on it. But as you can see, this hole basically means I'm going to have to fill that up with a handmade peg. This is radiator pine, and it's going into the grain with the grain direction and not against the grain from the side. This will get glued in. I will use a mil or 2 mil drill bit to go through it, then a larger one. That is what I'll do. This guitar has marks and bits and pieces, beeswax and some soapy steel wool, so we'll clean it all up. Yeah, so this hole has to be, and it's only that thick. And that's my finger. It shows you how thin that is. So so I'd say someone's probably dropped this guitar, and that's why that hole is wider than it should be compared to that one there. So I'll get to it and add it to the overall video. I'm only using the word part 5 and part 6 so I know what sequence the videos go in when I put it all together. So yeah, that was unfortunate to find this, but I have got to it before it became almost unrepairable, meaning that a whole large chunk of guitar body, like all this would have had to been cut out and another piece put in, and the whole thing redone all over again. And for this guitar, would not really have been worth my while. I would have just used it as parts, if that was the case. Did I pay too much for it? Yes, I think I did, after finding all these issues with it. But they weren't to know that. I don't blame that for where I bought it from, because how are they supposed to know? But I'm quite sure the seller did know what was wrong with it, or he had a pretty good idea that was something wrong with it, so, and that it was unplayable. All right, thanks. Hi folks, it's Thursday afternoon. part 7 on the LD Luthier guitar with the hole problem, or holes problem. I'm watching Nat the Hoof Guy trimming his cow hoofs. That's his business, or he's one of several on YouTube that does that and broadcast it or videos it. Anyway, turn on the light. This is what I'm up to at the moment. As you can see there, I've plugged in those extra holes. I've actually used a maple for that, and this is the masking tape, auto masking tape, that I'm using so I don't scratch up all the paint, which would be a real pain and expensive endeavor to redo. Those little scratches there, I actually did that, but it didn't go to the timber, so beeswax will get rid of that. And now I've run out. I don't have any. I've left the screws in, as you can see, when I put those plugs in, so that I don't lose the hole location, and so that the screws go in square when they have to go back in. And the next one is that one to cut out and redraw. Luckily I have the spaces that go into the back there. As you can see, those, like, I think they call that Frenching, something like that. But anyway, that'll be the last one I do. So once I've done all this, any buzz sound should be gone from this guitar. And I'm thinking about reselling it. Well, that's why I did get it in the first place, was to resell it. But hopefully without doing minor work to it, but that's not how it worked out. So this is that's what I use for a carving tool. Old screwdrivers. That screwdriver's probably over 30 years old, but it has a nice grip to it. My eyes aren't the best, and I blew the fuse into that magnifying light stand thingy. I blew the fuse in that. I haven't replaced it yet. So yeah. Hey folks, it's still Thursday, obviously. This is part 8 from 7, where I had plugged up the holes. This is for the neck. I managed to get the right size. So there, now it is plugged, ready to go. Of which I will get some epoxy resin, or known as super glue, and I will now seal that so that it's got thread, and so also should be able to stabilize that as well. And take the tape off, because I used the reinforcing washer to keep it square. The tape is just to stop it from me scratching the paint more than it already is. Most of it's fixable without much effort. As you can see now, I have repaired all the holes, or I should say extra holes, which will make the screws more stable and less likely to vibrate. So now it's just me getting the epoxy resin. So yeah, that's part 8 of sequence, not of part 1 or 2 to 7. This is just the sequence, because I don't want you guys to have to go through 8 different videos that go 3 minutes each. Why would I do that? All right, bye. watching Star Trek, and which one is it? Oh, Star Trek Strange New Worlds, season 2. What am I doing? This is part 9 of the J&D Luthier guitar. I'm just cleaning up the points, or the rods of the coils. That's masking tape, so I can scrape off the surface rust and clean them. I've also, don't know if you can see that, that looks wet, but it's not, which is actually epoxy resin, super glue, there and there. And there. So you can see the difference. Oh, if I can get a focus, it's better. On the size of the hole that needs to be. And if you saw one of the other parts, which will be part of this whole video, I need this so I can see. The yeah, it was black and lacquered inside the hole, which means the guitar wasn't dropped or in maluse, it was just manufactured that way. And whoever did that either didn't catch on to it or didn't care and just kept on putting it together during its manufacture. So this guitar would have always had some sort of feedback or buzz when playing it, no matter who played it. So that's on no one's fault but the manufacturing. So yeah. So I just need to finish cleaning these off, put the covers on, put the neck on, then check my funds to get some strings for it. Part 10, guitar is together. Have I fixed the string action problem? I won't know until I get strings, because basically this works as a lever, and what holds it together is the part that you saw extending from the back of the neck. So when the strings are on, it pushes it forward, and that's what keeps it tense, or it gives it tension. And yeah, so that's what I've done. So we'll see what happens when I get some strings and test it, see if it's cured the problem. If it didn't, then I will use it as parts, because because you can't use it. It'd be a waste of time. So yeah. For part 10 of sequence, minute-long video. This is part 11 for the J&D Luthier guitar, regarding its strings, where I bought them from, and how much, and why I got them online and not from a shop, because postage is 99 cents. Strings for a pack of 6 is $9.98. And if I get those from a music shop, you're looking at least $20 or so or more. And that's the seller. So now I'm just waiting for these to turn up from Boronia, Victoria, Australia, which should be next Wednesday or Monday, hopefully, before I can test this guitar, because I had to actually cut the old ones off. That's how bad they were. No way of saving those. So yeah, give this some light so you can see.